Because a lot of the times when we're saying I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, it's not true.
Welcome to the 5 Questions Podcast, where we unlock real estate and business insights one question at a time. Welcome to the 5 Questions Podcast. I am your host, Mario Lamarre. Our guest on today's show, she is a transformational speaker, founder of Upcycle Coaching, LLC, creator of the Candy Method. Can't wait to hear about that one. And a 7-time international best-selling author. After battling depression for 3 years, she discovered that the biggest thing keeping her stuck wasn't circumstances. It was the conversations happening inside her own mind. In just 8 months, she rewired that inner dialogue and completely changed the trajectory of her life. Now she helps achieving women break through limiting beliefs, silence the inner critic, and step fully into their gifts, greatness, leadership. Welcome, Lee Smith. Lee, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Mario. Excited to be here and share with the audience all wonderful things about the self-talk.
Lee, the concept of the podcast is real simple. 5 questions about real estate or business, in this case, most probably business. And we get straight to the point. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
First question I have for you. You said the loudest thing keeping you stuck wasn't circumstances. It was your self-talk. What was the moment where you finally realized your inner voice had become your biggest obstacle?
Yes. Oh gosh, it probably was the day that I was watching one of 22 incredible sunsets with my family across 4 different islands in Hawaii. And I was standing there on the shore, and I'm watching my husband with his camera because he loves taking pictures as his hobby, and he was
Yeah.
trying to get that golden hour light just right. And my young teenage daughter was at my side, and we were having a wonderful mother-daughter moment. And my stepson, who was grown and out of the house, he was on the other side of me with his girlfriend having a nice overlook at the beautiful ocean. And as I was watching this, I was thinking, wow, I'm here 23 days in across 4 islands. Who does this? I was thinking, oh, I'm surrounded by my family, the people I love the most. I was thinking it's a holiday because it was around Christmas and New Year's. What a wonderful time to be here. And I'm thinking and I'm thinking, and I noticed all the observations of what I was thinking. And then I caught myself, Mario, where I was only thinking. I was not feeling the moment. Here I was, this woman who, this incredible human being, just this moment here in paradise at a beautiful time of the year, surrounded by people that I love. Wouldn't that encourage or emote happiness, joy, fun? None of that was coming up for me. And I
Wow.
thought, what is happening right now? Who am I right now? And as I asked that question of myself, I wasn't doing this out loud. This was all internal.
Yeah.
And as I was doing this, what came up was nothing. And then there was this, I had taken the image like if there's dust particles in your hair and you're trying to pick it out. I felt like I was just a wife. I was just a stay-at-home mom. I was just a stepmom. And I was just all of these labels that supposedly was part of my identity. But really, when it came down to it, I was just a shell of a woman who lost all of who I was. And it was the self-talk of, yeah, you're just. And even with all of that, you're still just not good enough. And when I heard that, I said, no, I'm not cool with this. I'm so not cool with this. And this is going to change now. And I drew a line in that proverbial sand. And I said, well, there's a new year coming around the corner. I am going on a quest to figure out who is Lee? Who is Lee Smith? That is so important to me right now. I know I have given myself in my marriage, I have given in myself as a mom and a stay-at-home mom, but as an individual human being who wanted more out of life, that I was so not satisfied that day. And I said, I need to go figure out who it was. And I came home stateside and I worked myself because I have years of personal development under my belt. I use those techniques and those skills to pull myself out of what I realized was a depression and to pull myself out of that and remember who I am. And because of the steps that I did, I was able to reclaim my joy, figure out who I am again. And it was a return to my 8-year-old inner self who loves public speaking. That is what makes me come alive. And so that is what I'm out doing in the world now, so that my little inner child gets to do a happy dance every time I grab the microphone.
It's such a beautiful way to put it. You're describing, and that's exactly what a lot of people out there are. It's they're under. Everybody's got a gift to bring to this planet. No matter who you are, no matter where you're born or your status, everybody's got a gift, and not everybody develops that gift to the point of being able to offer it to other people. It stays
So
within. And the message that you give to, sometimes we need to step back and in realize and self-analyze. And you have tools, you're lucky. Some people don't have those tools to get to overcome the
right.
problems that are within, so we can get our gifts ready to deliver, to share with others. That is what we're all meant to be doing. So that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our second question. uh, when you have a gift, when you're there ready to share with others, a lot of high achievers look successful on the outside while privately battling anxiety, burnout, or self-doubt. Why do you think so many ambitious people silently struggle with this?
Oh gosh, Mary, that is such a fantastic question, and it does get to the heart of what I do, and it's about that self-love, and so many of us are performers out in the world, right? And no matter what our pinpoint, if we all had to pinpoint, here's my location on the planet, we might be on different latitudes and longitudes all around the planet, but we all have that common thing that number one, we do have something to contribute, like you mentioned, right? And I call this the 3 Gs, that you have genius, you have gifts, and you have greatness within you.
Yeah.
And what we tend to do is get caught up in that comparison game. Well, it's not just keeping up with the Joneses. We have social media now that anybody, anywhere in their location can look at, like, oh, well, gosh, I'm not doing it as great as Stacy. Look at Stacy. She's so beautiful with those long lashes and her gorgeous blonde hair.
Yeah.
And look at her there on stage and her life. She's doing this, or Kevin, oh my gosh, look at Kevin. He's driving that Lamborghini. He's got that big house. He's on the yacht. And so that comparison game, we're like, well, I want to play the comparison game too, but I don't want people to see that I'm struggling. I don't want them to see that I'm having a bad day, or that I'm not showing up consistently. No, I want to put this facade out there.
Yeah.
And so that's why we see externally, there's so much going on. And yet, what happens when we look at ourselves in the mirror? When we make eyes with ourselves, can you do that? Is one challenge. Can you say genuinely, I love you to yourself? It's easy
Yeah.
to do to the people that we truly love in our circles, right? But looking at yourself, can you do that? And then can you look at your own genius, gifts, and greatness? I liken those 3 Gs to a cell phone number. We have 8 billion people around the planet. 95% of us in this day and age have a cell phone. So many of us have the common digits 0 through 9 in any
Yeah.
given number. And yet No two numbers are exactly alike. That way I can call you Mario and I get you, right? You can call Lee and you get Lee.
Yeah.
But because of those different numbers, and so there's some overlap, but really it's unique to us. And so it is with those three G's. And when we get in touch with that authentic self, because we've been bombarded by all the noise outside of us and playing in that comparison game, that's where we live in that quiet desperation. But what if you didn't have to? What
Yeah.
if you can be celebrated just as you are? In my community, I hold that space for you where you can come and be as you are. And I'm going to say, I see you, I celebrate you. And let's shine those strengths that you have that make you you. So that allows you to embrace and embody the confidence that's meant to be yours. And so in taking action, you're following through on that. And you're like, oh, I can see myself as lean. You know what? Lee's pretty darn cool. I
Yeah.
like her and I like what she's doing in the world. And that's what I want for everybody who comes into my world. That even as high achievers, yes, and we're go-getters and we're going for that next thing or that next level of ourselves. And that's so important to our growth and evolution as human beings individually. But can we do that in alignment with okay, sure, I'm imperfect. Sure, sometimes I fall short. And okay, maybe Stacy is brilliant at closing sales and Kevin is great at starting the conversations with the people. Do they need to be exactly the same? No. Why don't we have a collaboration where Kevin goes and starts the conversations, brings them into this beautiful business or environment that we have, and then Stacy gets to close those conversations and we're growing together. And we can do that in joint ventures, uh, whatever projects that we have, even in our team, if we're, say, in a corporation and we're working with a team there, we can look at the strengths of the individuals and then how do we collaborate those pieces together so that we can minimize the comparison. It does have to start with us individually, right? We have to agree that we're not going to keep comparing
Yeah.
and then say, I would, instead of comparing and competing, I want to look at more collaborating. How do we all win together? And then even in your family, you can do that. In your neighborhood, you can do that. Where it's
I
like, okay,
agree.
in my home, it's peaceful.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. There's there's nothing wrong looking at other people, but what is the intention behind it? Is it
Yes.
competition, or is it looking at people's strength and then trying to, learn something from it?
Exactly.
Two different ways. So
Right.
totally agree with you there. This is really really good value that each and every one of us should reflect on this. Not try to copy your neighbor, but learn from your neighbor.
Yes.
Question number three I have for you. You rewired years of destructive thinking in 8 months. What were the biggest shifts of practices that created, or practices, I should say, that created the fastest transformation for you?
Yes. Well, to answer that, Mario, that another fantastic question. I have a visual to share with you because
Yeah.
I realized when I was standing on that beach dealing with that depression, when I looked back at it, what was really happening? I was reacting to the never-ending cycles in my life. I was a stay-at-home mom at that time, and so it was the never-ending cycles of dinner, meals, carpools, laundry, dishes, cooking, all of that. And so I wasn't staying present in that. I was reacting to my circumstances and what was convenient and what was not convenient. And then I looked into creating my best life. What did that look like? It was like, oh, for me, I love public speaking. And so I want to become a professional speaker. Well, how do I go from stay-at-home mom into professional speaking? What does that shift look like for me? And this became a framework and a tool that I now use for anybody who feels stuck. Like I keep hitting this wall and I feel like I'm always in my own way. How do I get out of that? And it's converting what I call the reactor. It's transforming the reactor who may think life is happening to me. or things don't always, they don't go the way that I want them to. I see them working for someone else, but they're not working for me. And I'm busy with my goals and my dreams, and I'm trying to do all the right things and I'm going for it, but really I'm just putting out fires because of all the expectations and the demands and all the noise. And I'm really tired, and I feel like the letter C in Reactor, where I'm stuck in the middle of all the things. And then I challenge you to take yourself out so that you see, yes, the letter, the pun here, see yourself. Take that moment in the mirror. Can you really see yourself with those three G's, the genius, the gifts, and the greatness? What comes up in your self-talk? Is it saying I'm not good enough, or I'm not ready, or it's too late now? There's no hope for me. I'm not good enough. All those things. But can you see yourself for the amazingness and brilliance that you are? And when you see yourself first, not selfishly, but seeing you for the strengths and what you have to offer, everything else falls into place. And then you become the creator. And so you can see that life is happening for you, and you get to see what matters most, what becomes priority, what aligns with what it is that you want in moving forward in life, or in your relationships, or even in yourself as a human being. And then you are creating the morning, the day, the business, the relationships that you want. And you're doing that on your terms. And again, it's not selfish. It's acknowledging the truth of who you are. And so instead of reacting to those never-ending cycles, I was able to get present and see myself, okay, in the here and now, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I can see myself on those stages delivering that powerful message. And so that's a concept I'm sharing with you, but they can also be used as a tool. So when you
Yeah.
have that moment, whether you're in traffic or at your desk, and you're like, oh, things are not going my way right now, take a breath. That's like taking the C out from Reactor. Just take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I reacting to this situation, or am I creating the best version of myself, or creating the most opportunity out of this situation for myself? And then you
Love it.
take a step forward.
Love it. For unfortunately, for people who are listening to this podcast episode in their car, or somewhere on Apple or all the other platforms, you cannot see what I just saw. So go to YouTube and rewatch the video, because this was a very powerful visual that Lee showed us here, to take ourselves out of the equation and look at from an outside perspective on what's happening, what the situation is, to really shift into and turning into that situation in a better situation for ourselves, and not just seeing the negative out of it.
Yes.
Question number 4. Um, you teach people to move from what we just saw, reactor, to creator. What does that actually mean? Well, we just explained. I didn't expect you to show me
Oh.
this before. How do people know when they're trapped reacting instead of intentionally creating their life? So maybe, because it's such a powerful concept, maybe we can elaborate a little bit on this. How does
Yeah.
someone catch themselves being a reactor? Because sometimes it happens so fast, we don't catch ourselves and say, okay, now I have to stop and analyze. How do people do this?
Yes, absolutely. And I, you know, my initial personal development journey started with Tony Robbins. I was a young college kid at the time, and this was back in the day of infomercials and cassette tapes. And I ordered the cassette tapes, listened to Personal Power up like 2 times at least, and studying through that. And I've been with many teachers and mentors since, and I looked through all of them, and even in Viktor Frankl's book, the Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about that moment between stimulus and response, where we have a choice. And we've even heard the sayings of life is 10% what happens to us, 90% of our attitude. which comes back to that choice of how we choose to show up in that moment, right? So yes, sometimes if we're not paying attention to ourselves, let's say we're at work and we're thinking about our family, that's a reaction. If we're with our family and we're thinking about our work, that's a reaction. And that moment of frustration or any type of negative energy when we're like, oh, it's not working out for me or it's not going my way, that is a moment right then and there and say, okay, I'm feeling that frustration, I'm feeling that agitation, that disappointment, whatever it happens to be, right there. Take a breath.
Yeah.
How present are you being in that very moment? And then as you are notice, bring that awareness. Okay, now I'm being present. Am I reacting to my situation right now? Or am I creating the best possible me? Am I creating an opportunity? And it can even happen in conversation. I've been blessed to be married to my husband for 25 years now. And even in arguments that he and I've had, I will internally like, oh, Lee, are you reacting? Or are you internally taking a deep breath so that you can create the best response to find the solution to this issue or an understanding of each other so that you can get out of this conflict and that negative energy and come back to reuniting. So it comes with self-awareness. And I guess it takes a step back that do you want to be more present and be more aware? Because you're like, yeah, people complain I'm angry and I keep fighting all the time and I don't want to be that person anymore. Well, okay, if you're wanting that change, can you then create that desire and awareness to go, okay, how can I be more aware? And the moment you catch your thought, we're so automated with our thoughts and emotions and feelings, right? Can we take a moment and go, oh, I can actually pay attention this time? Like I was that day on the beach. Nobody knew that conversation was happening in my mind, but I was thinking, I'm only thinking, I'm not feeling what's happening. And I had this whole conversation happening in my head. So at any given moment, can you stop yourself, take that deep breath and go, okay, am I being a reactor? Or, okay, yeah, I notice I am being a reactor. Great. Can I see myself first so that I can create that best version of me? And then how do I express that? And play with it. I did not do this overnight. It took some
It's
diligence.
exactly. It's not a flick of a switch that you have
Right.
a formula and you put that formula to use and everything happens like magic. It will
Yes.
take efforts. It will take time to remind yourself when you get in that situation to take a
Yeah.
step back and breathe. But you will
Yes,
get there. It's
you will.
muscle memory at after one point.
Exactly.
Perfect. Love that. Love everything. Let's go to our fifth and final question for today. You've helped clients break through sales blocks, overcome stage fright, increase revenue. What's the connection between mindset, identity, or actual business success that most entrepreneurs completely underestimate?
Oh my gosh. What an incredible question there, Mario. I love it. I love being challenged like this. The challenge, the common challenge that I see is it all comes back to that self-talk. I describe myself as a self-leadership strategist. And self-leadership is leading yourself before you lead anything else in your life. And leading yourself is looking at what's my physical state of being? Am I in high energy or am I sitting, say, at a low frequency? Well, then what results will come out of that? Low frequency is going to be low production and low powered relationships, whereas higher energy, and it doesn't mean hyper activity, it means having that high level awareness and mindfulness. What's the environment externally, what's the environment internally, and then looking at the self-talk. If your self-talk is saying like, who do you think you are, or you're not good enough, or you're not ready, or oh yeah, you think that person is intimidating, so you're going to play small. You're
Yeah.
going to hesitate in those decision making. And so that's whether it is trying to close the sale, whether it's trying to go and ask for a promotion or a raise, whether it's trying to have a hard conversation with someone that you really care about, any of that is going to come right back to that self-talk. Is it a positive belief or is it a false negative narrative? Because a lot of the times when we're saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, it's not true.
Yeah.
But it's a repeated narrative that we tell ourselves. So, do you remember cassette tapes and they would come unlooped and sometimes you couldn't rewind them back and you'd have to cut it and let it go? That's what we need to do with those negative loops because they're not true. And when you can replace it, because you do have to replace it, you can't just get rid of it. You got to replace it with a positive truth and it's in line with your authentic self. That's where you go, oh, I feel different. And you're embodying that and you'll show up differently. Your shoulders will be back, your chin will be up, not arrogantly, but authentically, truthfully,
Proudly.
sincerely, you. And people will respond differently, and your results will be different. You'll make that sale, you'll improve that relationship, you will see yourself in the mirror, and you'll love yourself, and it will be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee, we're out of time for today. This conversation was very deep, very impactful because a lot of people are in those situations. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I hope that each and every one of our listeners will take a piece of your wisdom and take it with them on their journey. And once again, thank you for being part of the Five Questions podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mario.
Thanks for tuning in to the Five Questions podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell on our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned for more insights and tips to transform your real estate and business game. See you next time.